You're in a tent. It's pitch black outside. And somewhere near you, a baby starts crying. Not quietly, not a little whimper. A full, piercing, unmistakable scream that could probably wake up half the forest. Every instinct in your body says this is a disaster. A loud, weak, defenseless creature broadcasting its exact location to every predator within earshot. This should be the easiest meal in the history of meals. And yet, across the entire span of human existence, in caves, in huts, around campfires in the middle of nowhere, this exact scenario has played out an unthinkable number of times. And the baby almost always survives the night. Why? Why doesn't the loudest, weakest, most obviously vulnerable thing in the environment get taken first? The answer is stranger than you'd think, and it's not really about the baby at all. It's about something ancient, something that predators have been quietly learning about our species for 2 million years. Let's start with the obvious assumption, because it's wrong. You'd think crying is the worst possible thing an infant could do around a predator. Loud sound, clear location, no ability to run. On paper, it's a 5-alarm dinner bell. But here's the twist. Predators aren't actually responding to sound the way you'd expect. They're responding to pattern. A predator's brain isn't scanning for loud noise equals food. It's scanning for a very specific signature it has hunted successfully before. A wolf knows the sound of an injured elk. A big cat knows the panicked bleat of a young gazelle. These sounds trigger an automatic hunting response because the brain has cataloged them across thousands of generations. A crying human infant does not match anything in that catalog. It's not the right pitch, not the right rhythm, not the right acoustic texture as any prey animal these predators have ever successfully caught. So instead of triggering the hunt response, it triggers something else entirely. Confusion. And in the predator world, confusion is not an invitation. It's a warning sign. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because the crying baby isn't alone out there. It's inside a human camp. And a human camp, even a small one, is one of the most intimidating things in the entire animal kingdom, for reasons that have nothing to do with weapons or tools. Remember, predators have been shaped by us for a very long time. We've been hunting large predators for roughly 2 million years, and the ones who survived contact with humans were the ones who learned to avoid us completely. That caution isn't something each individual animal figures out fresh. It's baked into their instincts now, passed down genetically from every ancestor who learned the hard way that engaging with humans rarely ends well for the predator. So when a wolf or a big cat picks up the sound of a human camp at night, crying baby included, it's not evaluating one small vulnerable creature. It's evaluating the entire unit. And the unit reads as something to avoid. Then there's the fire. If your camp has a fire going, and for most of human history it did, that changes everything again. Fear of fire is one of the only near universal responses in the animal kingdom. It's not learned. Animals that have never even seen a flame in their lives will still show avoidance behavior at the smell of smoke. It's wired that deep. So a crying baby next to a fire isn't a vulnerable target sitting in the open. It's a vulnerable-sounding thing sitting inside a wall of ancient, biologically hardwired terror. The fire alone is often enough to keep most predators from ever approaching close enough to even properly assess the situation. But let's say a predator does get close. Let's say it's curious enough, or desperate enough, to actually consider it. This is where the truly strange part of the story comes in, because researchers have found that animals aren't just reacting to humans in general. They're specifically trying to figure out what kind of human situation they're looking at. Studies on wild predator behavior near human settlements have shown that unfamiliar human sounds, especially unpredictable ones, are treated with far more caution than familiar, repetitive ones. A crying baby is about as unpredictable as sound gets. It rises, it falls, it stops, it starts again with no rhythm a predator can learn or anticipate. Predators like patterns they can decode because patterns are how they know what happens next. An unpredictable sound coming from inside a human camp is, if anything, more unsettling to a predator than a normal one, not less. And then there's the part nobody thinks about. Crying doesn't just alert predators. It alerts every human in that camp too. And a group of adult humans, suddenly awake, suddenly moving, suddenly making noise back, is exactly the chaotic, high-risk, unpredictable scenario every predator has evolved to avoid. Predators do not want a fight they can't control. An injury that doesn't heal in the wild is often a death sentence. So a screaming infant that instantly mobilizes several adult humans into alert, defensive behavior is, from a purely predator calculation standpoint, one of the worst possible targets available. It's loud, yes, but loud here means backup is coming, not that the meal is undefended. This is honestly the part that flips the whole story on its head. We assume vulnerability equals danger for the vulnerable one. But from the predator's side of the equation, a crying baby surrounded by fire, surrounded by adults, wrapped inside a human social unit that has spent millennia being genetically selected as something to avoid, isn't an easy target. It's one of the most heavily defended things in the entire forest. The very same qualities that make an infant crying feel like an alarm to us are the qualities that make a predator's internal risk calculator light up in the opposite direction. Stay away. Don't engage. This does not match anything I know how to hunt safely. Of course, this isn't a guarantee. Predators occasionally do take infants, and it almost always follows the same pattern seen in every rare human predation case throughout history. The predator is injured or starving, or has had so much contact with humans that its inherited caution has broken down. These are the exceptions that prove the rule, not evidence against it. In every documented case where things went wrong, something had already scrambled the normal signals. Under ordinary circumstances, with fire, with a group, with the ancient inherited wariness still fully intact, a crying infant is protected by an invisible wall built out of 2 million years of predator learning, none of which the infant itself had to do a single thing to earn. So next time you imagine a baby crying alone in the dark, remember it was never actually alone. It was surrounded by fire that predators fear on instinct, by adults whose presence alone rearranges the behavior of entire ecosystems, and by generations of animals that learned, one dangerous encounter at a time, that humans are simply not worth the risk. The cry that sounds like weakness to us sounds like something else entirely to the thing in the dark. It sounds like a signal coming from inside a species predators have spent 2 million years learning to leave alone.